I know some people have said, "Oh well, it's a bit slow." Partly because I think they're kind of addicted to Paul Greengrass's urgent fare. But what I like about it is I love the fact that it has the time and the space to immerse you in character and landscape. I like the fact that it's a story that, on the one hand, is about two very different characters finding some kind of common ground. Incidentally, Elena Zengel, who is absolutely brilliant and was so great in System Crasher, is fantastic in this film. And the combination of her and Tom Hanks, of whom we are, we've always said, such a huge fan. It's that kind of reassuring trustworthiness. All that stuff is in there. But I also like the fact that it's tied in with a narrative that seems all the more contemporary now, because it is about what it means to read, to tell, to recite, to story tell the news. It is about the way in which stories define our reality, even down to the fact that the film has, and I've seen it a couple of times now, on second viewing particularly, you start to realize things about it, that it's about the way in which language defines our reality. There's a lovely conversation between the two central characters in which they're sort of having a conversation about one of them perceiving the world in straight lines and one of them perceiving the world in circles. And it's about the way in which the stories that we tell define who we are and how we are those people. So on the one hand, you have this Western sweep, and obviously I love that about it anyway, because I'm a huge fan. I mean, remember that when the Westerns were kind of at their height, part of the joy of going to see them was to enjoy that huge, great big VistaVision experience. But also the fact that it has a very kind of intimate story at its heart about two very different characters finding common ground on a journey. So it's a kind of classic Odyssey. And I think it's told at the right pace. I think it's told at the pace that the story needs to be told. So that if you want to find those subtexts there, and I think they're all, for me, they kind of leap out. But if you want to find them there, they're there. If you don't, if what you want to see is a kind of, parent-child, surrogate parent-child story, then you can find that as well. The thing that always comes back with Greengrass's movies, I'm a huge fan of Paul Greengrass. I mean, I have been since the days of his first feature film. His films are made with care and attention, and he's a great craftsman. And I know he can sometimes be a bit self-deprecating, but I loved it when you talked to him about, how do you direct actors? And he said, well, what you do is you give them the space. You hear the honesty of the performance, and that's how you find it. So he comes from a news background. He understands story and narrative and underpinning. And he also appears to love cinema. As I said, the regret is that I would love to see News of the World on a big screen, and were cinemas open, I would do. But I've seen it twice on a small screen, and both times I have enjoyed it very much.
Yes, and I want to watch it again and relish again the fact that exactly as came out in the interview, we don't see the kidnap, we don't see his history in the Civil War. It's
No,
just written on their faces, and all the more
exactly.
powerful for that.
Exactly. It doesn't, it doesn't need to be. Also, I should point out that with some people have said, "Oh, well, it's slow and character led." There are some nail biting moments in it. I mean, the
Yeah.
bit up on the ridge is nail biting, but no, I enjoyed it very much, and I think Paul Greengrass is a real cinema craftsman.